interviewing Miss Dunn. She's one of the teachers here at Berks Elementary.
You can put my face. It's okay. It's all right.
Okay, so what methods or strategies do you use in the classroom?
So for my ESL kids, I basically use the strategies that um, that CFISD has put into place, and but basically they're the same for every district. I use a lot of pre-teaching, where if I know we're going to be learning new concepts, and I know it's going to be something they're not familiar with, I will kind of front load the vocabulary. I'll pull them to small group, and I'll let them know, tomorrow we're going to be start talking about this. So when you hear that word, this is what it means. So they won't be surprised. They won't be backtracking in their brain like, do I know this word or don't I? Another thing that I do, uh, especially here at Berks, because at Berks, I have 10 ESL students in my classroom, but only 2 of them are Spanish speaking. So there's tons of information on how to help Spanish ELLs, but I have Urdu, Tagalog, Arabic, Vietnamese, and so there's not just a lot of stuff that you can to individualize for each one of those would be way time consuming. And so it's a lot of pictures, for my students who can read their native language. Then we have the word to word dictionary, but that's only 2 out of 10. The other ones can't even read they can't read Urdu or they can't read Arabic. So that's not helpful to them. I carry my cell phone with me everywhere I go, because I'm constantly looking up, okay, this is what that looks like, or this is, and because some of the students, they can't read it, but they can understand it, I have downloaded on my phone, um, uh, Urdu to English, and I push a button and it will speak the word. They can't read it, but it will speak the word in Urdu or whatever, and they're like, oh, okay, now I know. And so a lot of it is just kind of front loading, but then even kind of on the fly. Um, uh, that pretty much is it. I I bring the vocabulary, the academic language, way down. I explain things several times in different ways. I check to make sure they understand. I have them repeat back, what did I said? Did you understand it? Um, One of the things that we have to do is we have to, on TELPAS, it's not just reading and understanding. They have to be able to speak too. And a lot of the ELL kids, not all, but a lot, are shy when they speak English because they don't feel confident. And so it's kind of, I force them to speak. But what I do is I give them sentence stems. And so, I will go around the room and I will say, okay, everybody's going to answer the same question. I believe the main character is blank, put in a character trait because. And I have, my ELLs, my non-ELLs all have the same thing. So they're hearing the same sentence stem. And so it's kind of like feeding them that language so that they can kind of not have to come up with it on their own. That's one of the things. So.
And then you kind of talked a little bit about the difficulties, but what was one of the, like, you say the hardest moments or years that you had to teach your ELs?
So with teaching ELLs, it's interesting, especially because I have 10 and they're all, not only they're all different languages, they're all different levels within that language, so the difficulty as the teacher part of it is just being able to differentiate for each one of those to the degree that that child needs the differentiation, and keeping it all straight in my head. The difficulties that they experience, are they're frustrated. There's for the most part, they're very intelligent with it kids, but not in English. And so it's frustrating for them to make a 40 on a vocabulary test that they studied for. It's frustrating for them to take twice as long on a test than the people at their table because they have to look up every other word in the dictionary. And so to me, really, that's the heartbreak for me, is to see their frustration. And it's a lot of work on my part to kind of help them socially and psychologically not beat themselves up over it, and not to give up on school, and not to think I'm just stupid and I can't. That is not the case at all. But you have to, as a teacher, you have to work at that, because they are very. It would be easy to, if you always, you're the same kid that I'm always giving the paper back to correct, when every single time, and I'm like, well, yeah, you want to get the 70, but it's hard. It's hard on them, and it's frustrating for them. And, I see the look in their eyes, and they want to do well, and they just don't have it in English a lot of the time. And so, especially, if they, in my class right now, I have 3 kids that just came from NAC, the Newcomer Center. And I have some that have been here since kinder, but, they're at a huge disadvantage. And yet I'm expected to just keep on trucking with 5th grade level material.
Yeah, because they have to be ready for middle school.
They have to keep moving, and so it's frustrating. It's frustrating for them. It's frustrating for me to see, them lose confidence sometimes in themselves and their abilities. So, yeah, that's the hardest thing to overcome, is just them lacking that confidence to keep trying.
Yeah, like I was ESL when I was in kindergarten, but I was one of the kids that was pulled out.
Oh, okay. Right.
And so then I was pulled out all through kindergarten, and then they sent me to summer school.
Yeah.
But because I never talked, they didn't know I knew English. So it was like frustrating, because it's like I wasn't, like I needed it, it helped me, but it wasn't like I needed it like the other kids
right
did.
But you were so shy that they didn't. And that's what I tell my students, because I have, out of the 10, I have, like I said, all varying degrees, but I have 4 of them that are just painfully shy. Now, not with their peers. They're pretty outgoing with their peers for the most part.
But when it's one-on-one,
but man, when you have to ask them to speak, or and it's telepass, and they feel weird because they're talking into a microphone, and it's creepy and weird, and I don't want to. It's embarrassing. I try to pump them up as much as I can. I'm like, listen, I said, I know it's weird. I said, but you've got to just do your best to just block everything out. I said, because I hear you talking with your friends. I know you've got it. I said, but in the world of education, you've got to prove to the grown-ups that you've got it. And I know it's hard. I know it's scary. I know it's embarrassing. But, you've just got to do it. If you don't want to keep, if you don't want to keep being, if you feel that you are at the level where you could be exited from ESL, but the grown-ups don't know that, the educators don't know that, because you haven't been able to pass the speaking part on TELPAS, I said, you've got to just do it. Just, find some courage somewhere and just do it. And for the shy ones, it's hard. It's very hard. Yeah.
Last question. What advice would you give, for example, like me, that I want to be an EL teacher, future teachers?
I think for you, I think that would be, to me, for you to have that background is such a great thing for the kids to see. I don't have that same connection with them. I mean, I have the connection in terms of, wanting to learn and feeling like I had trouble with math. And so like I wanted to learn it, but it was difficult. And so, but as an ELL teacher who has kind of been through that, I think that's a bonus for you, because you can say, hey, I've been there. I know what it's like. The advice I would give is to reach out to those parents as much as you can. Feed as much resources as you can to those parents, because I think a lot of them, they don't know what to do to help their kids. If I'm working all day, I come home, and and so if you can reach out to the parents as much as you can, and let them know that you're there to help their kid succeed, but also just those relationships with the kids, pump them up, let them know that they're smart, and we just got to work on getting your vocabulary up to the level of everybody else, and be as discreet about that as you can, because they already know that they're working on a different level, and so I think just keep with them, encourage them, try to find stuff that is in their language, and if they can't read it, which a lot of them can't, you know, my phone is loaded up with apps, like bonkers amounts of apps on, you know, how to help the ELL kids, how to, you know, translate, you know, Tagalog or to, you know, Arabic, you know, that kind of thing. So just gather as many resources as you can, and pull a small group with them daily. Get them to talk. Force them to talk. Kindly, but force them to talk. Make them do it, because that when they hear it in their own head, it somehow clicks a little bit better. So.
Thank you, Ms. Dunn, for letting me interview you
You're
today.
welcome. You're welcome.
I hope you all enjoyed.
Bye, everybody.